You are under arrest for theft of property. Place your hands behind your back. You have the right to remain silent.
I'm 28 years old and work as a cybersecurity analyst for a consulting firm that specializes in penetration testing and security audits. My job involves traveling to different corporate clients, assessing their network vulnerabilities, and writing detailed reports about security gaps in their systems. It's demanding work, but I enjoy the challenge and the variety it brings. I've been dating Emily for roughly a year and a half when this whole nightmare started unfolding. Our relationship seemed genuinely solid, at least from my perspective. We had good communication, shared interests, and rarely fought about anything significant. About 4 months before all this happened, we decided to take the next step and move in together. We found a nice 2-bedroom apartment in the downtown area, nothing fancy but well-maintained with decent amenities. The rent was reasonable for the location, and we split everything straight down the middle. Emily worked as a freelance photographer, primarily doing portrait sessions, small weddings, and occasional commercial work for local businesses. She had her own MacBook Pro that she'd purchased specifically for photo editing and client communications. That machine was her livelihood, and she treated it carefully. For my work, I maintained a powerful custom-built desktop workstation that I'd assembled myself. It had the processing power and memory needed for running virtual machines and conducting security tests. However, I also owned a personal laptop that I'd purchased about 2 years earlier, a Lenovo ThinkPad. This laptop served multiple purposes beyond my professional work. I used it for various side projects I was developing, some casual gaming during my downtime, general web browsing, and storing personal documents. The machine contained several years' worth of tax returns that I needed for record keeping, backup files for my cryptocurrency wallets that represented a decent amount of money, an encrypted partition containing all my passwords and sensitive login credentials, and approximately 3 years' worth of personal photographs and videos. These photos included irreplaceable family moments from holidays and gatherings, vacation pictures from trips Emily and I had taken together, videos of my nieces and nephews growing up, and other sentimental content that simply couldn't be recreated if lost. The text message that changed everything arrived on a Tuesday afternoon around 2 o'clock. I was sitting in a conference room with one of my clients, a mid-size financial services company, reviewing the results of their recent network vulnerability assessment. We were discussing critical security patches they needed to implement immediately. I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket, but ignored it initially, trying to stay focused on the presentation. A few minutes later, during a brief pause in the conversation, I pulled out my phone and glanced at the screen. Emily's name appeared with a preview of her message. What I read made my stomach drop instantly. "Please don't get upset. I lost your laptop. My ex Derek borrowed it for a project and now he says he can't locate it anywhere." I must have read that single message 5 or 6 times before the words actually registered in my brain. Her ex-boyfriend. She'd given my personal laptop to her ex-boyfriend. Emily had mentioned Derek sporadically throughout our relationship, always in casual passing. He was 32 years old, worked in pharmaceutical sales or medical device sales, something in that general realm. They'd been together for approximately 2 years before splitting up roughly 8 months before Emily and I had started dating. According to everything Emily had told me, their breakup had been completely amicable and drama-free. They'd remained on friendly terms afterward, occasionally running into each other around town. I'd never actually met Derek in person, never felt remotely threatened by his occasional presence in Emily's life, and never had any reason to question their sporadic interactions. Emily would mention him occasionally in conversation. She'd say things like she'd run into him at the gym, or she'd seen one of his social media posts about a vacation he'd taken, or he'd sent her a funny meme about something. I trusted Emily completely, so Derek's occasional appearances in her stories never bothered me in the slightest. I figured they were mature adults who'd managed to maintain a casual friendship after their romantic relationship ended. That seemed healthy and normal to me. But now this man apparently had my personal laptop. Or rather, he'd had it at some point and had apparently lost it somewhere. I immediately typed out a response, trying to keep my tone measured despite the anxiety building in my chest. "Why exactly did your ex-boyfriend have my laptop, Em?" Her reply came through within just a few minutes. "His computer crashed right before an important sales presentation he had to give. Mine's been freezing constantly for the past week. You weren't at the apartment when he stopped by. I figured it would be fine to lend him yours for a few days. I'm really, really sorry, babe." I typed back, keeping my response short. "When exactly did you give it to him?" She answered quickly. Like 5 or 6 days ago, maybe? I'm not exactly sure. He promised he'd return it by Sunday at the latest, but now he's claiming he doesn't know where it is. I feel absolutely terrible about this. 6 days. She had handed my personal laptop containing irreplaceable files and years of memories to her ex-boyfriend nearly a week ago, and was only informing me now on Tuesday afternoon because he'd apparently lost it somewhere. I sat in that conference room staring at my phone screen, feeling a strange mixture of anger and disbelief wash over me. I typed a simple, controlled response. No worries. I'll take care of it. I didn't elaborate or explain what I meant by that. I somehow managed to finish the client meeting on autopilot, my mind racing through implications and possibilities the entire time. Afterward, I made an excuse to my supervisor about feeling unwell and left the office early. I drove straight home, my hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. The apartment was completely empty when I arrived. Emily had mentioned that morning she had an important photography session scheduled across town, a family portrait shoot that would probably run until early evening. I sat down at our kitchen table in the silent apartment and tried to force myself to think through the situation logically rather than emotionally. I made myself a cup of coffee, sat there drinking it slowly, and analyzed what had actually happened here. First major issue: why would Emily give away my personal property without even asking me first? We shared living space now. We were partners. She had my phone number saved. She could have called me at work, sent a quick text asking for permission, or simply waited until I got home that evening to discuss it with me. Lending out someone's personal laptop without permission seemed like a significant boundary violation. Second major issue: 6 days ago was last Thursday. I specifically clearly remembered being home that entire evening. I'd been working at my desktop computer in our spare bedroom, running some security scans while Emily had been watching something on Netflix in the living room. We'd ordered pizza for dinner. She'd had the perfect opportunity to ask me about lending the laptop. She'd deliberately chosen not to mention it. Third major issue: Sunday had come and gone. That was 2 full days ago now. Derek had possessed my laptop for 6 entire days, had failed to return it when he'd promised Emily he would, had claimed he couldn't find it for 2 additional days beyond that, and Emily had only decided to tell me about this whole situation now, on Tuesday afternoon. What had changed? Why tell me now specifically? Had Derek finally admitted to her that he definitely couldn't find it? Had she been hoping he'd locate it before she had to tell me? Something about the entire scenario felt fundamentally wrong to me. It wasn't just about the missing laptop anymore. Why was Emily so comfortable lending out my belongings without permission? Why had she waited so long to inform me? What else might she not be telling me about her ongoing relationship with Derek? I opened my laptop tracking software on my desktop computer, hoping it might provide some answers. Years ago, when I first started working in cybersecurity, I'd gotten into the habit of installing tracking applications on all my personal devices as a standard security precaution. It's just good practice in my field. I logged into the dashboard for the tracking software and pulled up the location history for my ThinkPad. The last recorded ping showed Saturday afternoon at exactly 3:47 p.m., originating from a street address I'd never seen before in my life. I carefully documented everything with multiple screenshots, saved the GPS coordinates to a file, and pulled up the location on Google Maps. The street view imagery showed a modern apartment complex in a decent neighborhood, maybe 25 minutes from our place. The buildings looked relatively new and well-maintained, probably expensive based on the area. Not exactly the kind of residence someone who desperately needs to borrow laptops for important work presentations typically lives in. That struck me as odd. If Derek could afford to live in a place like that, surely he could afford to buy a cheap backup laptop for emergencies. I called my friend Ryan, who works as a police officer. He's not a detective or anything specialized, just regular patrol duty, but he's been on the force for about 7 years and understands procedures and protocols. More importantly, he knows the right people to talk to about legal issues. Ryan, hey man, I need some advice on something. Somebody borrowed my laptop and is now refusing to give it back. What legal options do I have here? He asked immediately. You got solid documentation proving ownership, original purchase receipts, serial numbers, anything like that? I confirmed. Yeah, I've got all of that saved. I'm pretty organized with that stuff. Plus, the laptop has tracking software installed, and I know the last location it pinged from. Ryan explained. Okay. File a police report if the property value exceeds $1,000. In this state, that qualifies as grand theft, which is a felony charge. That's especially relevant if they're actively refusing to return your property. You got any written communication, showing you asked for it back clearly? I admitted, not yet, but I'm working on establishing that right now. He advised, get everything in writing, text the person directly, ask clearly and unambiguously for your property back. If they refuse or ignore you completely, file the official report and bring all your documentation with you. We'll handle it from there through proper channels. And listen, if you've got tracking data showing the current location or last known location, definitely bring that too. Makes everything much easier for us to actually recover your property. I thanked Ryan for the advice and immediately composed a text message to Derek. I'd actually saved his phone number in my contacts several months earlier. Emily had left her phone unlocked on our kitchen counter one afternoon, and I'd noticed a text message from Derek come through. His contact information was right there on the screen. I'd saved it to my phone without really thinking about it at the time, never imagining I'd actually need to use it. Now I was grateful for that impulse decision. I typed out carefully, "Hey Derek, this is Emily's boyfriend. She mentioned you borrowed my laptop last week for something. I need it returned by tomorrow. Can you drop it off at our place or should I come pick it up from you?" No response came. I checked my phone obsessively every 10 or 15 minutes for the next 3 hours, like some kind of anxious teenager waiting for a text back from a crush. Nothing appeared. Emily arrived home around 6:30 that evening. She immediately launched into a string of apologies, explaining that Derek was supposedly searching everywhere for the laptop. Maybe he'd left it at his office. Maybe it was at a friend's house. Maybe he'd left it in his car and someone broke in. She seemed genuinely confident it would eventually turn up somewhere. Her behavior struck me as increasingly odd, though. She talked rapidly, barely pausing for breath, avoided making direct eye contact with me, and seemed genuinely nervous about the whole situation. Her hands fidgeted constantly. I asked her directly, looking right at her, "Why didn't you ask me before giving him my personal laptop?" She responded defensively, "You weren't home when he stopped by, and he really needed it urgently for his presentation. I honestly didn't think it would be a big problem. It was just for a few days." I said firmly, "It's my personal laptop, Em. It has all my private files and personal information on it, tax documents, passwords, family photos, stuff that can't be replaced." She replied, her voice getting quieter. I know. I understand that now. I'm so sorry. If he can't find it, I'll buy you a replacement. I'll give you the money this week, I promise. Whatever it costs." I told her, this isn't about the money or buying a replacement. It's about my privacy and my property. She went quiet after that statement, looking down at her hands. We ate dinner in uncomfortable silence. She'd reheated some leftover Chinese food we had in the refrigerator from the weekend. Lo mein and orange chicken that tasted like cardboard in my mouth. I kept checking my phone constantly, placing it face up on the table between us. Derek never responded to my message. Emily kept glancing at me nervously across the table, starting to say something multiple times but never actually following through with whatever words were on her mind. The tension in the apartment felt suffocating. Wednesday morning arrived with still no response from Derek. At 9 o'clock in the morning, right when I got settled at my desk at work, I sent another text message to him. "Derek, I need a response from you. Do you have my laptop or not?" 2 hours crawled by before his reply finally came through. "Don't have it, man. Already told Emily. Think I left it somewhere, still looking around for it." I typed back immediately. "Where did you last have it? What's the last place you remember using it?" No response came to those questions. I waited until 5 o'clock that evening, watching my phone the entire day. Still nothing from Derek. He was clearly avoiding giving me any real information. Thursday morning, during my lunch break, I drove to the main police station downtown. I brought several important documents with me. The original purchase receipt from when I'd bought the laptop 2 years prior, a photograph I'd taken of the serial number on the bottom of the laptop for my records, detailed screenshots showing all the tracking data with timestamps and GPS location coordinates, and printed copies of my entire text message exchange with Derek, showing clearly that I'd asked for my property back and he'd failed to provide any real answers. I filed an official police report for theft of property valued over $1,000. The officer taking my report was professional and thorough in his questioning. He was probably in his 40s, looked experienced. He typed everything carefully into his computer system while asking me detailed questions about when I'd last physically seen the laptop in my possession, the exact circumstances under which Emily had given it away, without my permission or knowledge, Derek's full legal name and last known address, and whether I'd made any other attempts to recover the property. The officer explained to me, "Just so you're fully aware of the situation, if the property value exceeds $950 and he's deliberately refusing to return it to you, that qualifies as grand theft under state law. That's a felony charge, not a misdemeanor. We'll dispatch an officer to his address to attempt property recovery or issue a formal citation if necessary. Processing might take several days, depending on our current workload, but someone will definitely follow up with you about this case." I acknowledged, "I understand completely. I just want my property back. That's all I care about at this point." He assured me, "We'll do everything we can to recover it. Keep your phone accessible in case we need to contact you for additional information or if we have any updates about the case." I deliberately chose not to inform Emily that I'd filed an official police report. That seemed like information she didn't need to have yet. Throughout the remainder of that week, she continued apologizing repeatedly whenever the subject came up. She kept insisting Derek was actively searching for the laptop in various places. Maybe he'd located over the weekend. Maybe he'd accidentally left it at a restaurant after a business dinner. Maybe somebody had taken it by mistake, thinking it was theirs. Her excuses became increasingly elaborate and far-fetched as the days passed. I just nodded along, said okay, and pretended to believe her increasingly implausible explanations. Saturday afternoon, I was shopping for groceries at the supermarket near our apartment when my phone rang unexpectedly. The caller ID showed an unknown number with a local area code. I answered while standing in the produce section, holding a bag of oranges. "Is this Jake Anderson?" a male voice asked professionally. I confirmed, "Yes, this is Jake speaking." He introduced himself. "This is Officer Martinez with Metro Police Department. We visited Derek Thompson's residence this afternoon regarding your stolen property report filed last Thursday. He wasn't home at the time of our visit, so we left a formal notice on his door informing him of the situation and instructing him to contact us. We also ran his name through our computer system as standard procedure when investigating theft cases. Mr. Thompson has an outstanding warrant from approximately 2 years ago. Failure to appear in court on a previous theft charge that was never resolved. We're coordinating with the county sheriff's office to bring him in for processing. Just wanted to keep you updated on the situation as it develops." I stood there in the grocery store, completely stunned by this information. A previous theft charge? This guy had a criminal record? Officer Martinez continued, "Yes, sir, retail theft from a major department store. He allegedly stole merchandise valued at several $100s. He skipped his scheduled court date back in late 2023. The warrant's been sitting inactive in the system since then, but now that we've made direct contact regarding your case, it's been reactivated. He'll need to turn himself in voluntarily or we'll arrest him the next time we make any contact with him. That's technically separate from your current case, but I thought you'd want to know what kind of individual you're dealing with here. We'll continue our attempts to recover your laptop through proper channels." I thanked him sincerely for the update and ended the call. I stood there in the produce section, trying to process this new information. Emily's ex-boyfriend had an actual criminal record for theft and an active arrest warrant that had been sitting in the system for 2 years. A warrant that was apparently now reactivated because the police went looking for him about my stolen laptop. This was escalating in ways I hadn't fully anticipated. I finished my shopping in a daze, drove home, and mechanically put everything away in the kitchen. Emily came home about an hour later, around 4 in the afternoon. She looked visibly upset, clutching her phone tightly in her hand, her face flushed bright red. "Derek just called me completely freaking out," she said immediately upon entering. "He said the police showed up at his apartment about your laptop. Did you actually call the police on him? Did you really do that?" I answered calmly, trying to keep my voice level. "I filed a theft report with the police department. It's stolen property. That's the appropriate and legal response to theft," she exploded, her voice rising sharply. "Are you serious right now? He's looking for it. You didn't need to involve the police in this. This is absolutely insane. You're treating him like a criminal." I responded, "He's had my laptop for over a week now. He won't properly respond to my direct messages asking where it is. He's giving vague non-answers." "What exactly did you expect me to do, Emily?" she shot back. "He's going to get in serious legal trouble now because of what you did. Do you understand that? Do you care?" I said simply. "Good. He stole my laptop and is refusing to return it." She stared at me like I'd suddenly transformed into a completely different person she didn't recognize. "He didn't steal it. I gave it to him to borrow. That's completely different." I corrected her firmly. You gave him my property without my permission or knowledge, and now he's refusing to return it and lying about its location. That's theft, Emily. Legally speaking, that's exactly what the situation is. She shouted, "You're being completely ridiculous about this whole thing. This is going to destroy his entire life over a stupid laptop, over a material object. Don't you understand proportionality?" I replied. "Then he should return my laptop immediately. Very simple solution to all of this." She grabbed her car keys from the counter and stormed toward the door, stopping only to grab her jacket. She slammed the front door so hard that a framed photograph we had hanging on the wall fell down, and the glass cracked. She didn't come back that night. She didn't answer any of my text messages asking where she was or if she was safe. Sunday evening, Emily finally returned to the apartment. She looked completely exhausted, like she hadn't slept properly in days. Her eyes were bloodshot and puffy, like she'd been crying for extended periods. Her hair was disheveled and unbrushed. She sat down across from me at the kitchen table without even saying hello or making eye contact. "Derek got arrested this morning," she announced flatly. I didn't say anything in response, just waited silently for her to continue explaining. "He got pulled over early this morning for having a broken taillight on his car. Just a routine traffic stop. They ran his information through their system and arrested him right there on the spot because of the warrant. He's in county jail right now. The bail is set at $5,000 and he can't afford to pay it. He's going to lose his job. They won't hold his position if he doesn't show up for work Monday morning. His entire life is literally falling apart because of what you did." I asked directly, "Where's my laptop, Emily?" She looked at me with an expression of complete disbelief and hurt. "Are you kidding me right now? That's seriously all you care about? A laptop?" I repeated. "Where is it?" she said, her voice breaking slightly. "I don't know. He genuinely doesn't know where it is. He's been looking everywhere for it. He wouldn't lie to me about this." I stated flatly, "That's his problem, not mine." She demanded, "Why are you being like this? This entire situation is so completely out of proportion. It's just a laptop. It's just a material thing. His life is literally falling apart right now, and you're sitting here asking about a laptop." I responded firmly, "No, it's not just a laptop. It's my personal property that I spent my own money on, my private files that could compromise my security, my privacy, my irreplaceable memories of my family. And you gave it to someone without asking me first. And now he's clearly lying about losing it because that's what thieves do," she insisted. "He's not lying to me. He's not a liar. Why would he lie about that? What would possibly be the point?" I asked. "Emily, did you know he has a previous theft charge on his criminal record? The police told me when they ran his information through their system." She went pale, the color draining from her face, and looked down at her hands. "That was years ago. It was a stupid mistake from when he was younger and made bad choices." I pressed. "You knew about his criminal record," she admitted quietly. "He told me about it when we were dating. He explained the whole situation. He made one stupid mistake. He took something from a store and got caught. It doesn't mean he's a thief now. People change and grow. People deserve second chances." I said, "He stole my laptop." She stood up abruptly, her chair scraping loudly against the kitchen floor. "Oh my God. You're completely insane. You're actually insane. You filed a police report and got him arrested, and now he's sitting in jail. And you don't even care what happens to him as a human being." I responded, "I care about getting my property back. That's it. That's literally all I care about in this situation." She stood there, breathing hard, then said quietly, "I can't do this anymore. I can't be with someone who's this vindictive and cold-hearted." She left immediately, throwing clothes randomly into a large duffel bag, grabbing her toiletries from the bathroom cabinet. She went to stay with her friend Jessica across town. I didn't hear from her for 2 full days. The apartment felt unnaturally empty and silent without her presence. Tuesday afternoon, Officer Martinez called me again with another update. "Quick update for you, Mr. Anderson. We obtained a search warrant for Thompson's apartment. Got judicial approval this morning from a judge. We executed the warrant with 2 other officers about an hour ago. We located your laptop in his bedroom closet, inside a backpack, deliberately hidden underneath several layers of clothes and shoes. It was clearly concealed intentionally. We're currently processing it as evidence in the case, but you'll have it returned to you within the next week or so once we complete our documentation. Also, wanted to let you know, the district attorney's office is reviewing potential criminal charges. Since the property value exceeds $950, and we now have physical evidence he knowingly kept it and deliberately lied about its location to both you and the alleged girlfriend, they're seriously considering felony theft charges. He'll have a preliminary hearing in a few weeks, either once he posts bail or gets assigned a public defender through the court system. I clarified, feeling my heart rate increase. Wait, you found it actually inside his apartment? He had it the whole time? Officer Martinez confirmed. Correct. Not lost at all like he claimed. Deliberately hidden in his closet. Very clear from the location that he knew exactly where it was the entire time. We took extensive photographs and documented everything according to proper procedure. You'll receive a copy of the full police report for your records. I thanked him sincerely for everything. After hanging up, I immediately texted Emily, my hands shaking slightly. Police executed a search warrant on Derek's apartment. They found the laptop. It was hidden in his bedroom closet in a backpack. He knew where it was the entire time. He lied to both of us. She didn't respond for hours. I went about my normal routine, worked through some projects at my computer, came home, made myself a simple dinner. Finally, around 8 that evening, her response came through. What? I replied. They searched his apartment with a legal warrant. The laptop was in his closet inside a backpack, hidden under multiple layers of clothes. He didn't lose it. He kept it intentionally and lied to both of us repeatedly about it. Emily responded, That doesn't make any sense. Why would he do that? I typed back, Because he's a thief with a criminal record. He lied to you. He lied to both of us. The typing indicator appeared and disappeared multiple times over several minutes. Then finally, I need to talk to him about this personally. I pointed out, He's in jail, Emily. You can't just talk to him. No response came after that message. I tried calling her once. The call went directly to voicemail. She'd either turned off her phone or blocked my number. 3 weeks have passed since all of this happened. Derek ended up taking a plea deal through his court-appointed public defender. He pled guilty to misdemeanor theft instead of facing the felony charge in court, paid a $2,500 fine directly to the court, received 2 years of supervised probation with regular check-ins, and was required to pay me $1,200 in restitution for the laptop's value. I ended up donating that entire restitution payment to a nonprofit organization that provides refurbished computers to underprivileged children who need them for schoolwork. His previous outstanding warrant was also resolved as part of the overall plea agreement with the prosecutor, but that added another $3,000 in accumulated fees, fines, and court costs that he had to pay. Then there was the bail bondsman fee, which was 10% of his $5,000 bail, so $500. Apparently, he also hired a private attorney instead of sticking with his public defender, thinking it would help his case somehow. That added another $3,000 in legal fees, according to what I heard. Altogether, by the time everything was completely resolved through the court system, Derek was out over $10,000. Emily found out all these details through mutual friends we shared. She finally texted me late Friday night. What did you do to him? I responded simply. I filed a police report for my stolen laptop. That's all I did. Everything else was his own doing. She wrote back, He lost his job. He's completely broke. His entire life is ruined. Are you happy now? Do you feel good about yourself? I replied, He stole my laptop and lied about it repeatedly to both of us. Actions have consequences, Emily. That's how the world works. She sent one final message. I can't believe I ever thought you were a good person. I typed back, I can't believe you gave my laptop to your ex-boyfriend without asking permission and then defended him when he lied to both of us repeatedly. I can't believe you chose him over me and our relationship. She responded, He made a mistake. One mistake. Everyone deserves forgiveness. I wrote, He committed a crime. He deliberately stole my property and hid it in his closet. There's a fundamental difference between making a mistake and committing a crime. She blocked my number immediately after that final exchange. Emily moved out completely the following week while I was at work during the day. She took all her belongings, every single item that belonged to her, left her apartment key on the kitchen counter with no note attached, and didn't say goodbye or leave any explanation. Her friend Jessica sent me a brief text informing me that Emily had retrieved all her possessions and I shouldn't attempt to contact Emily anymore under any circumstances. I had absolutely no intention of doing so. I got my laptop back last Tuesday. Everything was completely intact and functional. Derek had apparently attempted to factory reset the machine to erase everything, but he didn't know about the BIOS password protection I'd configured at the hardware level years ago as a security measure. So, nothing had been erased or deleted. All my files were perfectly fine and untouched. The encrypted partitions were completely intact. All my photographs and personal videos were still there exactly as I'd left them. It appeared he'd barely even used the laptop for anything, just kept it hidden in his closet like some kind of trophy. I haven't heard anything from Emily since she blocked my number. Mutual friends have mentioned in passing that she and Derek are talking again regularly, that she's been visiting him and helping him navigate his probation requirements and figure out his financial situation. I honestly don't care anymore about any of that drama. That's their problem now. I'm currently looking at studio apartments closer to my office building. Time for a completely fresh start in a new place without all these negative memories attached to it. For anyone saying I'm heartless or cruel for getting him arrested, consider this carefully. He had my laptop deliberately hidden in his bedroom closet and lied repeatedly to both me and Emily about its location for over a week. If he'd simply returned it the first time I politely asked for it back, absolutely none of this would have happened. I didn't ruin his life. He did that entirely to himself when he made the conscious decision to steal my property and lie about it to everyone involved.